ocean and it is very cold. Where do you live?
Well, we are now in Oakland. We drove down from Tahoe. Easy's in the back. It's Ryder who's sleeping. Is he sleeping? Should I not talk too loud? Okay, so now we're gonna spend a couple days in Oakland with Easy's cousin. I got some time, so I'm gonna answer some more questions. Okay, let's see here. I apologize if I miss a question that you asked. If you really need to know the answer, then just comment again on this video and I'll try and answer it. Screaming George 1 asks, how much do you sell your mugs for? And that is a good question. I'd say the cheapest that I sell a mug for now is around 14 bucks. And the most I sell mugs for, well, the most I've sold custom mugs for like $40 per mug. But that's like pretty spendy. I'd say most of the mugs I sell are anywhere between like 22 and 28, that range. Just watch my how to price your pottery or anything video to find out how to price your mugs, because it totally depends on your location, depends on how much you're selling, how much time you have invested into the art. If you're brand new, you probably want to sell for a little less, but yeah, thanks for the question, Screaming George.
Nice name.
Lost Pawn asked, what brand of wheel do you use and why? And is this the first kiln you've owned? The brand of wheel that I have is I have a Brent, which those are like the yellow tray wheels. And why do I use that? Is because that's the wheel that I found on Craigslist when I was first starting out. I got it for 800 bucks and it's still the one I use today and never had any problems with it. It's great. And then the kiln, and it is not the first kiln that I've owned. I first bought a kiln for 200 bucks on Craigslist when I first started, and I fired that thing probably 300, 400, 500 times maybe, and it finally just was like breaking everywhere. It needed new elements, and I was like, I'm getting a nice one. So then I bought my nice Scott automatic one that you can have all the presets, and so nice. It's bigger too. So I actually own another nice Scott kiln too, but anyway, so not the first kiln I've owned. How do you keep constant thickness when throwing pots and still get cracks in the bottom of everything I throw? So the constant thickness for throwing pots just really comes from time on the wheel. Like the more time you spend on the wheel, the more you're gonna like be able to know. For the bottom thickness, you can use a needle tool to test the bottom thickness. So like just throw it and then test it, and test it when it's still pretty thick, and then you can throw a little bit more, test it again. But you can always flip the pot over and trim some of them, so I would err on the side of being a little too thick on the bottom. Because when you get really thin, that's when you're gonna have problems and thickness. How do you get the glaze to drip when you put layers on and not get it to bubble? I think anything that bubbles for me is just from not firing to the right temperature. So if you go to cone 6 and you're using cone 6 glazes, that's what I do, then you're not gonna get bubbling because it is hot enough where it's just dripping. That was from Natalie Lou. Have any video ideas for slab work? Also love your pine tree mugs, blah, 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 blah. Penne Covert. So for slabs, I do some plates for Mocha Monkey and some trays and stuff. So I'll do a video about some different slab projects that I do.
One about how to throw out a slab.
Yeah, yep, I have a great video about how to throw out a slab, so I'll link that in this video. Could you share some of your standard weights of clay for different pieces? This is a great question. For example, how many pounds of clay for a cereal bowl, your basic mug, dinner plate? I always weigh out my pieces, so I pretty much know how much everything for that. So for like a small, like 6 or 8 ounce mug, I do a 1/2 pound to 3/4 pound. That's like a smaller mug. My standard mug for like a 14 to 16 ounce mug would be 1 pound. Bigger mug, like a 20 to 24 ounce mug, would be anything above like 1 pound. So like maybe 1 1/4 pounds to 1 1/2 pounds would be like a large mug. And then a big bowl, like a big serving bowl, that'd be about 5 pounds. Like a big dinner plate, I would start with anywhere from 3 to 3.5 pounds. Like a decent sized cereal bowl would be about the same as a mug. Like a 16 ounce mug would probably make about a 16 ounce bowl too. So anywhere from 1 to 1.5 pounds for like a cereal bowl or something like that. That's a great question, because that's really, really important. If you start with the same weight and clay, then you can really get consistent that way. I think I'm almost to all the questions. Where was the wakeboarding? I did mean to put some wakeboarding in that last video, but I did not have my camera with. From Ceramic Jim. thanks for the question. If I've ever had problems with pinholes, etc., how do you correct it? Sherry Pechin. Pinholes, for me, is usually an imperfection in the glaze. Like I've had a couple glazes where I like got really frustrated because I kept getting like pinholes. So then I just kind of like restarted with a new bucket, like, because I'll just like keep adding glaze powder and water and then making new glaze. But when I get really frustrated that I keep getting consistently pinholes, then I'll like start over. So if I get a new bucket that's clean and a new glaze mix with clean water and then mix it up, then usually that fixes everything. But sometimes if they're little tiny pinholes, you could fire it again. You can refire things. Sometimes that works. Sometimes if you put glaze on that's still wet, like if you do a couple, 3 different layers and the middle layer is like wet before you, and then you put the third layer on, sometimes that causes some issues with glazing too, some pinhole type things. And also I've heard of people putting a hold on the pinholes have time to like, kind of, it's just air bubbles that come up and pop. And so if you hold it for a little bit, so just try different stuff, but that's stuff that I've tried. Hey, I think that's all the questions that are on this video. Sorry if I didn't answer your question, but I'm pretty sure I got it all at some point. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this video.
Let's get some AC.
Let's get some AC.